Okay.
You have scenes where really weird. No, like I think some of the action is really awesome. It's really over the top, and some of the things that happened, like you almost laugh with how crazy it is.
Yeah.
And then mixed with jokes, but somehow for me, it sort of just didn't work, and I was
They're trying too much.
yeah,
In different,
it's
in opposite ways.
it's also part of it is also sort of trying to make fun of sort of that spy film in a way, but then still being one.
Yeah.
So are they saying they think this kind of film is stupid, but then we're still making one?
Yeah.
And
They
like,
told us.
and then there's just some plot things as well, where it's like they can do some things, some technology, where it's like that is ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and that's okay. But then there are other things where it's like, it's hard to give examples without like spoiling anything. But it could be like they have a weapon where like they have a pen, and then out of the pen comes a lightsaber, which is cool. And then that's sort of the world you make. But then there are other things where like then you should be able to do this.
Yeah.
This other stuff should not be a problem,
Yeah.
but it is. So the world doesn't really work, and it's sort of not explained what you can do in the world.
Yeah.
There's a point where they need to get into this place, and sort of their plan to do that is to disguise, sneak in, find this guy who has a laptop, like drug him, put a thing in his computer, and take over their Wi-Fi to take over the thing. And I'm not really sure what they're trying to do that way, where it's like, that's your plan? Like, you can do all this crazy shit? And it just doesn't really make sense. And then there's stuff like Barack Obama's in it, shot from behind, and they're like, oh, it's clear that they're going to try. And that's cool. But then, like, the Swedish Prime Minister and Swedish Princess is in there.
Yeah.
And that's just they're not trying to make them look like them at all.
No,
they're just different. And there's
they're
like...
they're not important.
No, it's like, this is for the US audience. People don't give a shit about that. And it's just that sort of mix between trying to make it look real and then not.
Yeah.
I will say then at the end, it gets sort of super ridiculous, and I laughed out loud. So in a way, I think I sort of liked it more at the end, because it just got so stupid that it was fun.
So they should just go away with that kind of style.
I don't know. I just think if you want to watch a film, I think if you go into the film with the right mindset, you're going to be entertained. Because if you want to watch, ridiculous stuff, then I think you might enjoy yourself. I would wish that they would then cut back a little bit on some of the more serious stuff. I think Samuel Jackson, he has a lisp. Yeah. I don't know if that what's called in English, but like,
I don't know.
And I don't understand how you can do that. It's super impressive, and I think it looks like they have a lot of fun making it. Wasn't really for me, but I'm happy enough I watched it. I think especially if you're in the mood for it, it's gonna be fun to watch. Yeah. But it's a really weird mix.
I called it James Bean at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because that was kind of a mix between James Bond and Mr. Bean.
From Mr. Bean.
Yeah, but what is the movie where he's a spy?
Isn't it just called the Mr. Bean movie or something?
No,
Mr. Bean the movie?
Where he is the spy.
Oh, but that's got nothing to... That's just Rowan Atkinson. That's nothing to do with Mr. Bean.
No, but same character.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Same actors.
I can look that up. Yeah.
What's the name?
He is called... Johnny English.
Johnny
English. That's more of a comedy.
Yeah.
Where this comedy, the fun stuff is more how ridiculous the action... I'm going to spoil a tiny thing in the beginning. That's not a story thing. It's just how a character is. There is one of the so skip 20 seconds if you don't want to hear that. Very 5-10 minutes into the film, you see one of the evil guys, main henchman, is a girl who has basically samurai swords for legs.
Okay.
And she just slices people up. So she just does backflips and cuts people in pieces. And one of the first things that happens is she cuts a guy in two, and he sort of splits.
Split all over.
And it's just okay, I guess that's the thing. And then you okay?
And she doesn't do it later on in the movie.
Yeah, she does not that, but she does the shit like that.
I can only cut this.
Yeah, it's and then people do this, and they're like, "Oh no, what am I gonna do?"
Gonna cut.
But it's that thing, and then instead of just, some of it seems sort of serious, and it's instead of just cutting someone, she does a triple backflip and then cuts them.
Yeah.
Whereas it's so ridiculous. I will say Mark Hamill is in there, which I really enjoyed. Who you're not gonna know who is.
Yeah.
that is Luke Skywalker.
Luke Skywalker.
He's also the Joker in some TV shows and games.
Oh.
But so I just extra
just
star
love him.
just
Yeah.
for that because
Yeah.
Mark Hamill was in there, and he's not in a lot of films. But yeah, it's sort of a, I don't know.
It's a weird movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to go see it in the right mindset.
I think if you see it with some friends, I could imagine if I went, I would always watch like Star Wars as my birthday probably. But if I was like on my birthday, we're gonna go have some beers and just be idiots and go get drunk afterwards.
Yeah.
I think this would be a lot of fun to watch because then you don't give a fuck about the plot and then
No.
you just like seeing people getting sliced up and saying stupid shit.
Yeah. But I know that feeling going to the cinema, not really knowing what to see and then just see something. I went we went seeing some of my friends and we were just saying let's go to the cinema. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And then we saw Into the Storm. Have you watched that?
I don't remember what that is.
It's a very
Into the Storm.
Into the Storm. It's like a
Oh, is that like a catastrophe film?
yeah, catastrophe film, but with
Into the Storm.
with
Richard Armitage from I saw the trailer for that. Yeah, I haven't watched it.
so the camera.
I remember the trailer for that where I was already there, like because I got an invite to like a super pre-screening of it, and I had actually booked tickets. Like, oh, cool! Like I'll see that a month before it's out, and then I saw the trailer, and it's like at a high school, and people are like having graduation, and then you see it's like a little bit of dark clouds, and then next thing. Tornado, and it's like people are just like, and like their hats are flying off. They're like, "No, we're gonna have our like high school diploma thing." And next thing is like the world is on lockdown,
exactly.
And it's like I was like, people are stupid.
Yeah,
I could not take that serious. And it's that sort of film,
and that's from the beginning to the end of the movie. People are stupid.
Yeah,
but that's kind of the fun thing in that.
You just need to again know what.
Yeah,
kind
exactly,
of film
because you need to know that it's a very stupid film with plot holes and everything that you don't want in a movie. But if you know that, if you expect that from a movie,
I imagine there will be a scene where like maybe a cow is flying in the air in a tornado.
I think a couple of cows actually. But I'm not gonna spoil it because this movie is so great that it is. But in the end of the movie, something.
I'm not gonna spoil it.
I'm not gonna say it. But in the end of the movie, something happens, and you're just like,
okay,
no, why would you do that?
Okay.
Because that's just plain stupid.
Okay.
But I would say if you drunk and you want to watch a stupid movie with your friends, go watch Into the Storm.
Okay.
Because you're gonna have a blast.
Okay. You're not gonna miss anything by being drunk and that way missing part of the film.
No, but
maybe your brain is on that level that you need to.
Yeah, but you're missing out time if you watch it and you're sober.
Okay.
Because
all right. Maybe we should make a list of best films to watch when you're drunk.
That could be a list.
Yeah.
That could be a list. But I think Into the Storm.
The thing is, I would probably still pick Star Wars. Just watch that as well.
Because I just think the thing with something weird and sci-fi going on, and the fact that you're drunk while you're watching it, that would be fucking amazing. I think that.
Can you imagine Interstellar when you're drunk?
I think that I would get it.
Maybe I'm just thinking. I don't know. That might be too much for me emotionally.
Maybe if you were high instead.
Yeah.
And watching Interstellar, you would.
But I think.
Why didn't I get it the first time?
Actually, in the future, we're going to talk about. I don't know if you knew, but Interstellar was originally a Spielberg film.
Yeah, exactly.
I talking about that?
The thing with the.
No, don't spoil it.
Oh, I'm not saying anything.
But we should talk about it. There was the Slash Film had an article about it where they explained what was happening in the thing before he handed over to Nolan. So.
And if you think Interstellar is weird,
that sounded
weird.
Awesome. I want to see that film. But anyway, the last film I have on my list is what we just watched. So we watched Focus. Yeah. Do you want to explain, or should I explain the plot?
It's I don't know if it's a class. I think that the thing about Focus is it begins very well with Will Smith. He is kind of a scammer, and he got a scammer team,
Yeah, they sort of trick people.
Yeah, exactly. Then trick people, and they take their watches and they take their wallets. And he is actually explaining because all movies are set up to be with either a new person in the gang or something. Then I can Jessie or Jess is her name.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
sort of it's Will Smith and I was just checking out Margot Robbie. It is the chick from The Wolf of Wall Street
Okay.
who plays Jess, and Will Smith plays Nicky. He is a sort of a con man.
Yeah. He's the lead.
She is sort of a more of a small fish con. As you said, she's
Yeah.
more the one that steals watches and
Yeah.
wallets out of people's.
Yeah.
He sort of does bigger cons, but teaches her a little bit in the beginning. But he sort of introduces her to the bigger con world, and they have a big team where they do a lot of things trick people,
scam them.
Yeah, but some of it is also betting in a way where it wouldn't actually be illegal because it's just that they. I don't know. It's sort of some of it is straight illegal, some of it is sort of gray zone stuff. But you follow those two people and sort of their story. But again, just like other films we talk about, I think one of the problems with this is there isn't really a straight plot. Like we talked about it afterwards. Like normally you would have sort of the intro, which is pretty much what we have, where you do a smaller thing and you get introduced to the character, they get introduced to each other, and then you have the bigger con. But this sort of have two, and it's weirdly put together, and there's a lot of twists and stuff. But you follow them and them trying to do different con stuff and get to know each other.
The thing about focus is that you don't know when to trust what they're saying.
No.
And then you notice something they say, and you're just telling your mind, I'm gonna remember this because that has something to do with going on later. But sometimes it never came.
I feel like the problem with this, for me, it feels like it's like a poor man's Ocean 11. Although of course it's not that team, because I don't think it's as well done. The plot is not good enough, and I got to a point at the end where crazy shit happens and it's totally unpredictable. But that by the end or like the last third or something, I could guess what was going to happen because basically they don't set anything up proper. I think it's okay that stuff happens that way, but it's like you need to sort of tease it and make it. If you just pull things out of nothing, the viewer is going to feel cheated because there's no way they will ever guess this. No. So the way to do that proper is that the second time you watch the film, you're like, oh yeah, here they actually had a sort of tell that this was going to happen. Yeah. Where here at the end, I was just thinking, okay, what would be the craziest thing that happens now? What would be something they haven't shown could happen at all? And that's the thing that happens all the time. And that sort of gets boring as well. Because you have no way of sort of... What's cool about these sort of films, and it's the same with sort of murder mysteries and some heist films where you're sort of following along and trying to figure out what happened. Yeah. But you know here that you have no chance of guessing it other than guessing what is the craziest thing, and that's what happened.
Yeah, because when I saw the movie, I also thought, okay, I think I know where this is going, and then it went halfway there, and then it turned to something totally different. Yeah. And I think that maybe I don't know, but maybe I would have liked the movie more if I could have guessed it, because the ending of the movie, in my opinion, is terrible.
Yeah, it's weird because they sort of do the big con, and then that sort of ends early. It feels like it could have been longer. Yeah. And then they start a new one, and that's sort of weird. It's not in the end. It doesn't really finish either.
No, exactly.
I feel like it's, as you said, with films, like it's nice when you feel like you could have guessed it. I actually prefer the ones where I feel like I didn't guess it. Yeah. But I could have. Yeah. So the second time I was like, oh yeah, this and this is how it worked. So it's not about that I didn't guess it. It's just that it's building that world where if you don't give me a chance to guess it, it sort of breaks the world. It's like if we're having a thing here and then, well, you're a wizard, and that's how it ends. It's like, okay, that's not really interesting, because then you can just do anything. Yeah, exactly. And looking at the guys who direct, there's two directors, which sort of often is fishy, and I don't think they've done a lot of great films before. Where I think, before we talked about Bond Girl, where I think if someone like David Fincher did this, or good directors like that, or Ocean's 11, Steven Soderbergh, you would get a different level. I think part of the shots are great.